Welcome to another edition of From Beyond Champaign. I'm Cody. You can follow me on all the socials at Cody_CHGO. Happy Monday. Happy pivotal week to improve your NCAA tournament resume if you're Illinois basketball week, whatever. I think I should say week in that instance. Hi. It's been a while. Unable to do post-game after the Minnesota win the other day. So this is kind of a little bit of a mix of post-game / looking ahead. Illinois goes to UCLA tomorrow. And like I just said, it is a pivotal week. If you are Illinois and you're thinking about your NCAA tournament resume, this is a pivotal week. All right. And who knows? Maybe Big Ten is still alive in terms of regular season conference title. Doubtful, but who knows? We've seen crazier things. So before we really dive into all of it, hit that like button. If you are here on YouTube, please hit the like button. The links to the podcast are in the description for audio. Any subscriptions, God, I'm blanking. Any reviews and 5-star ratings, it would be awesome. Sorry. It's been a long day. As you all know, this isn't my full-time gig. It has been a long day. Happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday. So we're going to talk again. I'm going to talk about the Minnesota win, the win at Minnesota. I want to talk about Kofi Cockburn, and I am curious. It's part of the title in today's show. Skyy Clark. Skyy Clark comes back to Champaign tomorrow. I'm interested in y'all's thoughts. Do you think Skyy Clark is going to get booed tomorrow when he comes back to the State Farm Center for the first time since the 12 games he played with Illinois back in the 2022-2023 season? A season I think we all would like to forget, despite the fact that they made the NCAA tournament, right? So let's start with Minnesota, all right? If you listen to the last podcast, maybe I just need to start yelling about everyone, because in the last podcast, I did a lot of ranting and a lot of venting about how this team is better than this losing to Rutgers, how that transpired, just all of it. And I said that KJ has to be better. I was a little bit lighter on him than a lot of guys, but I said he had to be better. And he answered the call. He came out and was awesome against Minnesota. Will Riley put together another great game. He has finally arrived in Big Ten play. And Tommy got to play as well. I don't know how the ankle was doing, but whoever gave him an ankle to play on Saturday, thank you. All right. Let him keep it now. All right. At least until like the end of March, I guess. Right. I am like in the short I put up on the YouTube channel or on my TikTok, wherever you follow me. I'm struggling with two things. These two things are true, but I'm struggling with them. The first thing, they played Minnesota, all right? Minnesota's not that good, right? The other thing is that they played what I would say is the most complete game to date. And I think the best way that they're going to be able to win against better teams. And that is the fact that they only took 16 3-pointers. They were 56% from three, but they only took 16. And I felt like they were in a much better flow of the offense. And they were going to the basket. They were going to the basket. They were getting out in transition. They were doing things that I feel like we saw in November, in December, and even, beginning part of January before that that stretch starting with the USC game. But again, it's Minnesota, I want to celebrate it. I want to, because every win is worth celebrating. But I need to see more. And as I feel like we've all been saying all year, we need to see some consistency from this team. So that's where I'm at. If my reaction from that game, it was nice to watch a game and not be incredibly stressed the entire time. It was nice to be able to watch that basketball game and just enjoy what Illinois was that day. They didn't shoot a lot of threes, but they were getting to the basket. You had guys playing their best ball of the season. Will Riley, 27 points off the bench. 27 points. He was a triple-double watch. 9 rebounds, 7 assists. If this is what I should be expecting the rest of the season, which I don't know if it is, at least this stat line, but just what he's been his last 3 games. If I can expect double-digit scoring from Will Riley and being a playmaker, that way KJ doesn't have to handle the ball every single time down the court, I can take that. I can live with that, and I can be happy with that. It was for sure his best game as an Illini outside of what he score 30 against Eastern Illinois or one of those mid-major non-conference games back in November, right? This was his best game, I thought, in terms of competition. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was his best game. And so I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. And now Illini Twitter is talking about how Will Riley is going to go into the draft after these last 3 games he's played. I didn't think that we would be talking about this. I really didn't think we would be talking about this, but I am getting real excited about this development with Will Riley, KJ getting back to form. And if you get those 2 guys playing well consistently, I'm not going to care about losing the Big Ten. I'm not going to care if they win the Big Ten tournament, but I will dream. I will dream about a deeper March run. All right. Again, dream. If those 2 guys are playing like this and you have Tommy playing well as well, they are at least a Sweet 16 team, I think. Some of the bracketology projections out there have Illinois as a 6 seed right now. So they get like a 6-11 matchup, which can be dangerous. We see a lot of upsets in that realm a lot, right? But I with what we've seen from this team, the good and the bad, we've obviously seen more good based off their record, but I think I can go into March and have some hope. Not just think probably just maybe a 1 win, lose on Saturday or Sunday, If they play like they did against Minnesota, and I think even though it was a little bit of a roller coaster against Ohio State, the way they were going to the basket, the way they weren't relying on the 3-point ball, that's what they need to do. Because I think at this point, we just have to acknowledge that Illinois is just not a good shooting team. It doesn't make any sense because I think Kylan Boswell is a better shooter than what he's been. And maybe some positive regression is coming. I can only hope that it's coming, especially with the schedule coming up. But to this point, they're not a good shooting team. So how do you win when you're not a good shooting team? You use your talent, you use your athleticism, and go to the basket and go to the foul line and run an offense to where it's more about getting downhill. I'm not some X's and O's basketball coach here. This is just like the most easiest way to explain it from a fan, in my opinion. All right. But I also think other good things are coming from this game. Ben Humrickhouse, he started yesterday. Was it because Trey White was out again because he was sick? Perhaps. Well, I guess he wasn't actually out. He played 1 whole minute. He played 1 whole minute and got 2 fouls. And Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn played 4 minutes and he had 3 fouls. Both basically were under the weather. Again, I'm not going to understand why we have guys who are sick and sitting on the bench, but whatever. All right. All I can say is that Ben Humrickhouse, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. in a role where, he was doing well coming off the bench, had to start in this game, and he played well in his role. Tommy had 18 points and 11 rebounds. I mean, at one point we were talking about this guy struggling in Big Ten play and if he could even play in this league. And he has been awesome since basically the Indiana game for the most part. He's made his presence known. And then Kasparas, 24 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Didn't miss any free throws. 2 of 4 from 3. And he took 1 or 2 of those step back threes. Those are probably the 2 that he missed. So I thought the threes he took were in the flow of the offense. They weren't off the dribble. That's what we need. I love the fact that I didn't see Kasparas handling the ball every offensive possession for Illinois in this game, right? Whether it was Kylan, whether it's Will Riley, they were allowing him to. They were starting to run plays through him off the ball as well, and I don't think we've seen a lot of that to this point up until Minnesota. So finding new ways to get him going. I said in the last show, can we get this guy going to the basket to get into a rhythm? And that is what we got. We got a couple layups to the basket, first couple shot attempts for Kasparas to start this game. And I just feel like he felt a lot more comfortable. And I guess he didn't have the sleeve on the forearm. He talked about to the media about, the forearm thing maybe being a mental thing. Listen, this kid's 18 years old, man. He's 18 years old, playing Big Ten basketball, getting touted as one of the top draft picks in college basketball, going to the pros next year. All these things. There's immense pressure for him to be this, be that, for stuff for people that people want out of him, right? Now, he obviously wants it. I'm just saying that if you're 18 years old and you have all this pressure to do this and this and this and this, and on top of it, you're trying to be the leader of this team, that's a lot to handle if you're an 18-year-old kid. So that's why in the last show, I was a little bit lighter on him than I was the rest of the team. But I also said at the same time, I'm expecting more because I know he's that good. He is better than that. And then in the Minnesota game, he answered the call. Whether it's scoring, whether it's not turning the ball over, only 1 turnover. Oh, my God. Yes. Yes, KJ. Yes. Again, I understand it's Minnesota. I understand. But the brand of basketball that they played against Minnesota is what they need to do against UCLA tomorrow and against Michigan State on Saturday. And when they go to the Kohl Center in Madison, Wisconsin later on, and when they go to Madison Square Garden and play Duke, okay? If they are going to win 3 out of those 4 games, they need to play a style of basketball like they did against Minnesota, and in my opinion, Ohio State as well. So to me, that is the only way they are going to win or have a chance to win. All right. So that's basically my 2 cents on the game from Saturday. And yeah, I haven't really changed gears. Like I'm expecting more. To be honest with you, I am expecting to win the next 2 games. To me, that they have put themselves in this position. Now, if they had beat Nebraska, if they had beat Rutgers, I'd say, yeah, it's okay if you lose one of these at home. But they are now in a position, in my opinion, where they need to win both of these games if they really want to improve their NCAA tournament resume. UCLA has been playing really well, really well. Won 7 straight, I believe, right? And then Michigan State, they finally lost against USC. And I think they have another loss since then as well. But they were down a ton to Oregon on Saturday and had a huge second half to come back and win. Would I say Michigan State's playing their best, absolute best basketball right now? I don't think so. And as we all witnessed, despite everything that went against Illinois at the Breslin Center, they only lost by 2. So I think Saturday is going to be cinematic, if you want to talk about vibes, atmosphere, stuff like that, especially with Terrence Shannon coming back to get the jersey raised into the rafters, right? You got Kofi Coburn coming home tomorrow at UCLA. It is a exciting week for Illinois basketball and Illini fans. So what the basketball team can do to make all the fans happy, outside of the fact that some legends are coming back to Champaign, is take care of business against, in my opinion, two teams that you are more talented than. You are better than those teams. We have seen it. I don't care how good UCLA has been the last 7 games or whatever. You can play better than them. And you're going to be on your home court. Mick Cronin has complained enough about how travel is such a big issue for his team and all of that since joining the Big Ten, right? You have every advantage going into this game. Coming off a win, you're at home. It's February. Your team perhaps could be finally turning the corner. Perhaps. I'm not saying they are, because I thought they did after they beat Ohio State and then they lost to Rutgers. So I'm not saying it, but you have a chance to show that you're turning the corner with UCLA coming to Champaign tomorrow. So I'm excited. These are the type of games that me as a fan get up for, because this game will be talked about a ton tomorrow. And Illinois has a chance to really change a narrative this week, honestly. And I have read way too much slander about this program in the last month, and I'm ready for it to shift again. I'm very much ready for it to shift again. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm excited to see it all play out. So as far as the UCLA stuff, so not only does Kofi Coburn come back to do the jersey ceremony, right? Not only is that happening, but Skyy Clark coming back to Champaign tomorrow. And I was listening to Illini Inquirer podcast with Jeremy Werner and Derek Piper on my drive to work today. And they talked about Skyy Clark a little bit, like asking, do you think that he is going to get booed? And they weren't really sure. And I'll just share that I think he's going to get booed, because I think a lot of fans, maybe not necessarily students, but I think a lot of fans have a lot of disdain and like bad feelings from that 2022-2023 team. I mean, people keep bringing that team up, especially this last month with how this team has played. And when I think back to that team was just so toxic, man. And what gets me about Skyy Clark, that pisses me off the most about him, and I hate saying it because the kid is like 10 years younger than me, but what pisses me off about the Skyy Clark situation and why I think he'll be booed, and if I was a student, and why I would boo, because I'm someone who holds a grudge. Like, no one holds a grudge like me, but if I was a student, I would boo, because not only when he decided to leave the team did the program do him a favor and basically shape it as like a mental health thing. As soon as Illinois lost to Arkansas in the NCAA tournament that year, not like literally, not even 5 minutes after that, Skyy Clark posted on Instagram, on Twitter, that he had committed to Louisville. And that just rubs me the wrong way, man. It just rubs me the wrong way. Now, do I have a disdain for him like I do a Hunter Dickinson or a Brad Davison or I guess any McCaffrey that's ever came out of University of Iowa, or, you know, I'm trying to think of just the most annoying players of my life. I mean, of the last 5 years. I could go back to the Aaron Crafts of the world, or like I could really go back some, right? I'm just thinking last 5 years for sure. You know, Illinois and Iowa have had a little bit of a rivalry. You know, they had this whole thing with Hunter Dickinson and him opening his mouth on podcasts. You know, they definitely have a little bit of a rivalry with Purdue recently as well, since they've been the top two teams in this conference, basically. But there hasn't been a lot of talking on that between both these teams, like except from like Coleman Hawkins, but he just talked related to anyone. So I don't know, whatever. I just don't feel that same disdain. I feel like Skyy Clark is more of just a disappointment. Like what could have been. It's more, is it more like Adam Miller for me? Because Adam Miller was like given the keys to the car to basically be the guy here in Champaign and then transferred to LSU, you know? And that was coming off the best season Illinois had since what, 04-05 at the time. He decides to transfer. Maybe it's more like that, but at least Adam Miller had success here. I don't think I'd ever boo Adam Miller if Arizona State came and played in Champaign before he graduates. You know, I don't think I would ever boo him, but it's like it's like a disappointment. I'd love to hear what Skyy Clark has to say tomorrow if he talks to the media. Because on the other end of the spectrum, during the tournament last year, Skyy Clark had some very nice things to say about Illinois on Twitter. So while it's nice, I'm also like, no, shut up. Like, you could have been part of this. And instead, you just packed your bags and said, see ya. I don't want to work hard. You know, that's what it felt like, man. Like how his whole thing ended. Like I want to say that it's more about you. I wish I could believe it was more about the mental health thing that Illinois tried to push in all of this. But if it was that, then he wouldn't have posted what he posted the moment Illinois lost in the NCAA tournament that year. In my opinion, he would have at least waited till the next day. That's just me. Just rubs me the wrong way, man. But either way, I do think he'll get booed tomorrow. I don't think he'll get booed like guys like Brad Davidson or Hunter Dickinson did. But there will definitely be some jokes. Hopefully we get a good sign or two. And I hope he has a terrible game. So let me know your thoughts on Skyy Clark. And what you expect to see from the Illini fans at State Farm tomorrow. All right. Now, on the other end, I kind of posted a video about this on my TikTok today. I'm going to put it up on my YouTube channel later. Kofi Cockburn coming home to Champaign tomorrow. And it's me in the chat says, super excited to see Kofi in TSJ this week. I'm right there with you. It's me. I'm right there with you, my man. Kofi Cockburn, when Illinois posted about it originally, the reaction on social media, it's so exhausting sometimes being a fan of Illinois, because like opposing fans, they love to, I guess, dunk on us or try to dunk on us. And like they put themselves on this pedestal of like, oh, we're better than you. We have higher standards. We would never put that guy in the rafters at, let's just say, the Breslin Center, because of course Illini and Michigan State fans have been, having a sword fight since that game back in January online, right? I'm just so sick and tired of. I honestly feel like this is a college sport thing. This is basketball, football, whatever. What is Michigan State outside of the one national title that they have under Tom Izzo 20 years ago, by the way? Like, what have they, if you want to talk about national titles, like, what do you want to, what, other than that, what do they have over Illinois? Now, they're good every year. They go to the tournament every year. They have had a lot of NBA players come through there, no doubt. I'm not even like shitting on Michigan State. I understand that they are a great program. And I guess you can make an argument that they're a blue blood program, I guess, because of Tom Izzo. I guess, right? They always play marquee games in non-conference. They always play a schedule that's respectable. Tom Izzo, I respect immensely. I dream of Illinois being like Michigan State over the course of the rest of my life. Absolutely. But like, it's not like you're UConn and you just won the last two years. You know, it's not like you're Duke and you have like what? How many national titles has Duke won in the last 2 decades? Like I'm using Michigan State because that's where I saw most of the fan like reaction in the negative way of like someone calling it a Mickey Mouse jersey retirement or whatever, which by the way, they're not even really retiring the number. They're just retiring the jersey, I guess, right? Like that's how they do it. And we all know that Illinois puts guys in the rafters who were All-Americans, right? That's basically the standard, right? And I think the names that are up there are deserving. They had a big part of this program. You cannot tell the story of Illinois basketball without D. Brown, Darren Williams, Kendall Gill, Io DeSumo, and the other names that I'm blanking on right now. Kofi Cockburn. Io DeSumo and Kofi Cockburn brought this program back to relevance. So when I'm seeing this discourse on Illini Twitter / just Big Ten Twitter, college basketball Twitter, like these fans who try to put their team up on this pedestal saying that we're just too good for this. Dude, shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up. Illinois is not a blue blood school. They're not a blue blood school. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe I can say that when I'm 33 years old. Maybe I can say that when I'm in my 50s because it took even Gonzaga to get to this. It took even Gonzaga like 20 years to get to a point to where people are finally like asking about it because they're getting top tier recruits and they are making deep NCAA tournament runs every year. Illinois went to the Elite Eight last year for the first time since 2004, 2005. Objectively, we know Illinois is they're not an elite blue blood program. They're on the right path, but we have to watch time play out. So it just frustrates me whenever Illinois wants to honor great players that helped shape their program to what it is. It bothers me when people are this fucking dumb. So to bring it all around, like Kofi Cockburn was a 2-time consensus All-American. Averaged 20 and 10. Like this guy was a dog. People are forgetting about that, man. He was the leader of a team that won the Big Ten. Everyone wants to talk about, Cameron Krutwig owns him. One bad game. Like, okay. Those are just trolls, and I get that. And that game will forever haunt me until Illinois, until Illinois is just consistently making it to the second weekend, or if they win a national title or go to a Final Four even, or whatever. Next time they play Loyola, they win by 1,000, right? Like that game will haunt me forever, and it will haunt all of us forever. I know this, but he was one of the best players in the Big Ten for multiple years. He deserves to be recognized. He deserves to have his name up in the rafters next to Io DeSumo. It's been there anyway, but he just hasn't come back. So I'm excited to see Kofi on my television tomorrow. I'll be wearing my Kofi Coburn t-shirt that I got from the Illinois NIL store. They have great merch, by the way. Yeah, so that's my little rant about that. There's more about that in my video I put up on my TikTok that I'll put on my YouTube channel here probably after I do this. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this week. This might be the most excited I've been for the entire season this week, because I want to believe that this is the week Illinois finally turns the corner. Because if Kasparas and Will Riley play like they did against Minnesota together, it's going to be really hard to beat them. And I think that ceiling we've talked about all season, that's the ceiling. If those two are playing as well as they have been together at the same time, to go with Tommy and the rest of the depth on this team, it's going to be a tough out. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. Quiet chat today, but that's okay. I hope y'all enjoyed my 30 minutes of talking into my MacBook Air. Tomorrow, I will do post-game after the game tomorrow. I will be here after the game, probably a good 30 to 40 minutes after the game, but I will be here live on the YouTube channel after the game tomorrow. All right, so I appreciate y'all's support. Hit that like button on the YouTube channel for me. It would mean a lot. Drop a comment related to Skyy Clark or Kofi Coburn. Would love to know your favorite moments. My favorite Kofi Coburn moment. There's so many good ones. Is it bad that a lot of my memorable moments, that's not even really my favorable moments, I just remember the refs just ruining my life every time because Kofi Coburn. Like, either he's getting too many fouls and he has to sit for 15 minutes, or he was dominating a game, right? That honestly, that's what I remember most, and that's what makes trying to come up with a favorite moment from him very frustrating, because his game always was dictated by how much Illinois would go to him. And of course they went to him a ton, but foul trouble was always a thing where it's like, it's in the back of your head. And so, yeah, though it's crazy. I remember that Purdue game, him against Edey, man, I don't think we'll ever see a matchup like that again. Like the size between those two guys, that was a brutal game that Illinois lost. But man, I remember that. I think just him being part of a team that helped them win the Big Ten in the moment of, everyone storming the court when it happened, and it being the first time and God knows how long. To me, that's it. Like, it's just, I don't think there's one particular moment for me that sticks out. It's just the fact of what he meant to the program and what he did, what he's done for recruiting. I don't know if Tommy comes to Illinois without knowing what Kofi Coburn did at Illinois, right? Like it's the same thing with Io. It's like the Io effect. Kofi has the same effect on recruiting as much as Io does. And obviously he's not been able to make it to the league, but he still has a big impact on this program. And I'm just happy that we got to witness it. So that's about it, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Post game, hopefully Illinois beats UCLA. Score prediction. UCLA, a good defense, by the way. Can Illinois get to 80 tomorrow? I think they can get to 80 tomorrow. I'll go Illinois 83, UCLA 79. Well, it'll be close. All right. I don't even know what the spread is. I've watched a lot of UCLA lately, and they're playing well. It's going to be a tough task, but you're at home and you need to win the game. I think Illinois needs to win this game more than UCLA. So you need to come out and play like it. All right. I'll see y'all for post game tomorrow. Again, hit the like button, subscribe, on all your podcast platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you tomorrow. All right. As always, guys, ILL.